Welcome to the first episode of YellowTape. This will be our first episode and we are excited about this journey. Under YellowTape, we're going to be discussing some of the fundamental issues that are affecting the young people in the society. And to help us discuss better about this, we are going to invite young people so that we can have a clear understanding from them on how exactly some of these issues, the issues that are affecting them and how we can be able to tackle them. Welcome, my name is Dixon Morande, and joining us today is guys from SAGA, that is Stand Against Gambling Initiative. And these young people from the University of Nairobi have decided to fight gambling. And it's quite an interesting journey considering we've been having a lot of gambling talk for quite some time now. From Matiang'i, and then we had apparently their classmate, Babu Owino, speaking something about gambling as well. So I'll want them to introduce themselves so that we can be able to start.
Okay, thank you. My name is Kelvin Kadenya. I'm a law student at UM Parklands campus. And basically, I'm a member of the SAGA, that is Stand Against Gambling Addiction.
Yeah, I'm happy to join you on board. My name is Kelvin Mugambi. I'm the Secretary General of SAGA, Stand Against Gambling Addiction, and we hope to elaborate more on the plight of gambling addiction in the country.
Thank you so much, guys, for joining us and having the ability to have some time to discuss this big issue. So maybe the first question would be, why did you guys start off SAGA?
SAGA began in a campus room in our hostels when we realized that the gambler, who was our classmate, our friend, he's every day ending up depressed. And as a comrade, and in the spirit of comradeship, one problem affects someone and it is a problem to all of us. And once we have our help dispersed, maybe in the middle of the semester, 2 weeks down the line, someone is going to bed hungry simply because he used the money to gamble. He hasn't paid his school fees, ends up depressed. And so now we had that eureka moment and said, what can we really do differently about this gambling? Since the government is not concerned, neither are the gambling companies concerned. Mm-hmm. And so we had to take the responsibilities upon ourselves.
Okay. Yes, Kevin?
Okay, first, they say that you have to have the problem so that you can have the solution. Mm-hmm. So some of the members of SAGA, and I'm sorry to say so, were addicts of gambling. So we thought at some point that maybe we should call upon these gamblers and come together maybe to find a solution. Uh-huh. So that is how we came to get members from other campuses who are affected by this gambling. Uh-huh. And that way we thought by forming SAGA, perhaps we could help other people out there who are suffering from the same. And that's how we came to form the SAGA.
Oh, that's quite interesting. So, Kevin, you mentioned something quite interesting, that you noticed that some of your members were actually addicts as well. The reality about any form of addiction is sometimes people don't know they're addicted, right? Because you see, like, if it's something like cigarette, you can have the feeling that, hey, I can't survive without this. But when it comes to gambling, how does one know? Because I think that's the critical point of knowing. How do you know that, okay, Dixon, this point where you are, this is quite an addiction? How do you know?
If you find yourself, you are persistent gambler, placing bets on let's say 6 days a week, and then also you find that wherever you place a bet, let's say you place 5 bets, and out of 5 bets you get that 4 have gone wrong, or wanasema imechomeka. So if you find yourself in that situation and you are still progressing to place these bets, then I think, as for me, I think you're addicted. Yeah.
Okay. Another sign maybe.
Yeah, it is true. For an alcoholic addict, we may see him falling in ditches as he walks the street.
Yeah.
But for a gambling addict, he will walk in a clean suit down the street, and we may never know he's depressed. In our offices today, if you walk to a government organization, you just go to the Google search of his desktop, you will find that among the searches, top on the list is on the odds of the day, is on the best odds, the best betting site, simply because we thought gambling is a problem for the employed. But it turns out to be even a bigger problem for the employed, because we are lacking key factors in our systems. We get to learn 4 years in campus, we get to have our masters and our degrees, but financial literacy lacks.
Yes.
So that employer, he earns his salary at the end of the month, and because he wants to, increase his earnings, the best way he thinks he can be able to do so is placing a bet.
Yeah.
But if we are able to impact financial literacy so that he can know that with 100 shillings he can be able to purchase a stock at NSC, then I think we'll be on the right track. And as you said, gambling is usually brought as a result of dopamine,
Yes.
which floods in the brain
Yes.
and makes you feel good.
Yeah.
And so you want to keep on doing it again and again and again. The problem now with gambling, when it comes now to this online gambling and lottos and everything, it is because it is sucking the little you have from your pocket, leaving you more poorer than you were before you began placing the bet, while you are maybe in an attempt to increase your earnings. And so that dopamine keeps on flooding the brain. You keep on losing the money, but you can't stop.
Yes.
You can't stop. Someone else has to come in and help you.
Yeah.
Key factor being financial literacy.
Okay. I like the approach that you're giving, that the key aspect is financial literacy. Because then looking at it, and then I don't think gambling is the problem. It's just that, because like you said, putting money in NSE. If you put money in NSE, you might lose, because at times some stocks get tanked, right? So if I'm Dixon, I just want to increase my income, then SportPesa is giving me an option of, Dixon, if you put 100, then you've been constantly watching the games, you can actually have the ability to predict right. And nowadays, if you go even to watch football, you realize guys going to watch with pens and books. So can we look at it rather than saying that it's gambling which is the problem, but rather we look at it from its financial management or financial literacy which is the problem? Because if I say this month I'm going to use 400 from my income to try and take a risk, which is the same way as buying a Makiba. No, a Makiba is pretty much sure. But no, rather than saying like something like, I want to buy Safaricom shares from NSE, then tomorrow they're down. or even like SACCOs, nowadays they're going down every day.
I really understand one thing for sure. I'm a believer of mathematics and calculated projections that are a bit sure, as opposed to gambling, which is a game of chance. Gambling has got to the levels whereby people are even betting on the weather. Maybe tomorrow it will be cloudy, tomorrow it will rain.
Okay.
And when we look at the history of gambling back in the Olympuses of Greece, people were betting when the prisoners of war were brought in, and they would fight to death. And people will bet on them that my prisoner will win. The other one bet his prisoner will win. Back then it was done as a form of entertainment. It was done as a form to get off the busy schedules of the day. People were enjoying it. But today it has been commercialized. It is no longer something to enjoy. It is now a commercial aspect of it.
Okay.
So when the odds are put, remember that company get profit from your lose. So every day when you place your odds, they are not for you to win. Because if you win, they lose.
Yes, that's
and if
true.
you lose, they win.
Yes.
So most of the times they look at, they expect you to lose.
Yes.
This is why, and you cannot predict football, for instance. It is a game of chance.
Yes.
Someone may end up, getting an injury in the middle of the game. So your predicted outcomes change.
Yes.
So there are many outcomes. But when you go to stock exchange, with the correct calculations and economic projections, obviously you can be able to know that the country is ending maybe to an economic depression.
Okay.
And you may also know that, this merger between Airtel and Telcom may at least bring profit to the country. So buy stocks from them.
Okay.
Or you may know that this and this aspect may lead. So it is one calculated on mathematical projections that are sure instead of relying on chances.
Okay.
And you're betting with your money.
Yes, that's
so
true.
any mistake will lead you poorer than you were before.
That's true. Wow, that no one has ever made it that clear. So I want to take you back to Kabete in your hostel, where this all began. How long has it been? And any notable successes that you guys have had so far?
We can say perhaps it has been there for the last 1 year, because we started at 2018. And notably, I can say we are making progress. There is success, because we have been able to make some progress in terms of achieving or attaining some goals that we set when we were beginning. And we have also been able to receive willing help from partners. For example, we have partnered with some few rehabilitation centers, because we have seen it's an addiction. So you need to help these people who are mentally affected by gambling. So these rehabilitation centers are able to help these addicts. We have also partnered with for example, I think it was Jira Digital, whereby we went and we talked to them, we gave out our ideas, and then these people thought it was a nice idea. So whenever we face someone who is torn in between whether to place a bet or to invest money, these people, we direct them to Jira Digital, whereby they are given some ideas on how to invest their money rather than invest in gambling.
That's incredible success. Because the reality is, I mean, when we started, Calvin, you had mentioned a few statistics in terms of how people are losing money, and we have guys at CRB, which is really, if you think about it, if there is a clear connection, according to Matiang'i, there was a clear connection between guys who are gambling and the guys who are actually listed on CRB.
Sure.
Yeah, and just to give us, I know you've mentioned about rehabilitation. I just want to get a clear picture of some of the services, or rather, what does SAGA do exactly?
At SAGA, as I said, one of the first thing is identifying a problem, and the second thing is identifying a solution to a problem.
Yeah.
Because if we tell the gambler he has a problem and we don't give him a solution, we're just leaving him to sink. Part of our solutions that we provide, as I mentioned on, is recovery programs through rehabilitation, because it is a behavioral addiction. Yes. We have a program for recovery, and then we also provide a blocking software for that gambler who's now at levels of cannot be able to stop, and unless someone else helps him to stop. So we have these softwares installed in their devices so that it blocks off any kind of advertisement that may try to woo him to gamble. Because we have quite unhealthy business models in the country right now. You plan that today I'll not place a bet. Just looking at your phone, someone just sends a text just from 2900. Today we have hot games. So again, you're brought again back to the system of gambling. And again, we have so many, as I said, unhealthy business practices in the country. And it is so sad that our government is not doing enough. We've had some mobile lending apps, which I call online Shylocks.
Yes.
And the reason why they succeed is because of the gambler is just incandescent, agitated, frenzied. He cannot be able to make rational choices, in other words. And so anytime you just offer him some money with just exaggerated interest rate, he has no option. He has to take the money. So that is why we have these apps, more than 30 of them. And the interest rate they're giving, alone of 7 days, you pay interest of about 30%. So they're taking advantage of the Kenyan. And so he ends up borrowing the money, only to be enlisted with CRB. That is why we have 2.5 million of them enlisted. And for that person, it is killing his financial goals, because he cannot be able to access a loan from an accredited financial insurer like a bank, or now to further, his costs and his business, for instance. So I believe if we are able to clear some of these things out of the market, because any business that capitalizes on an addiction, you cannot fight it. The one using it has no control over it. That is why, even as much as we may try to wipe out cigarette and alcohol from our shelves, they are here to stay with us. It is upon us now to form our own character decisions to enable us to deal with them.
Wow, that's powerful, Kelvin. So guys, I want to take a short break. We're going to listen to Angalia Sa by Uko Flani. Then when we come back, we're going to learn more about this blocking software and all the other amazing stuff that SAGA is doing just to make sure that we can be able to stop gambling.
Revolutionary corporate. Najua Sache kishujaa mzee. Damu jasho machozi, mama wakashinda wao mashabiki wakaenda na trophy. Matigari hana hata kaploti. Serikali nataka nikuze Nairobi, Mangati nataka wamangishe Jirongi, hawana kopi. They don't know who we be, haikosi. White Islands no more, sisiri hawatoshi. Hivi temepita rangi ya ngozi na kabila najua ni mbili tu, maskini na mdosi. So synchronizing in time 205, decolonizing in mind. Siseme mbiliki, notize wana rhymes. Divisions za sheni wa kifiro, bogi mato. Mtu anatusi matiti ya madha linyonya, alafu anapigiwa makofi za kilo. Washoot kudono nyanjiro, the same route. Rape mama yetu njeri, hizi ni betray ya mahiro. Ka Kenya ni matrix, nani ndio niyo. Kake madhi kwa the one day society ko drunk na opium ilo semekana na Karl Marx na vilabu recharge na pay tax kwa harass baby na mambanga mothers can't even protect the babies wanaume wawezi protect my lady wow haki bengao vita vya bunduki kila mkuki bullets zivuke nayo tangu era za nyayo yeah wanakumanga mzee usikate tamaa mtatukuta kwetu mtatuvamia hiyo ilikuwa last year nilidhani mtaadisia sense kwa wimbo zenu tukisinzia bado mnasinzia this year unaweza teta ukishukiwa kimakosa unaweza tema ukishibishwa uonge mbaya unaweza hepa ukinusiwa unaweza tema ukizidiwa hakuna haja kujiforce kitu hautaki unajua vile kwa uenda mgema kisifiwa writer mfema aliibiwa na wife yake akarepiwa na hiyo ndio asanti alipatiwa kufanya nini kuwatolea idea za kuwasaidia kuwabadilishia city ukuta zote si ni true kama ngaro ya poko ya kuexpose part ya juu ya mguu ikiandika assassination masniper maarufu opposite building kwa roof mighty zinacho kwa boots and eye boots na meza do time yako ya kuongea imeisha maadui wanakuinda na harufu kwa ile roho safi na moyo mkunjufu wa munyakei kuanzisha corruption zero tolerance fungulia kesi golden back na alipewa sati gani account iliarishwa design ya kolera tushavumilia viboko chini ya maslave master hadi kupigwa na mayai ya kuweza kaa Kenyatta
Welcome back, guys. So we're still continuing with our conversation on gambling, and with us we have amazing gentlemen from SAGA. SAGA is an initiative that stands for Stand Against Gambling Addiction, and they have decided to commit their life to help their fellow comrades who use actually all their help, which is interesting. And SAGA literally actually carried out a research because they didn't want to go with data that is provided by the government. They wanted to do actually research with data so they can be able to collect themselves data and be able to have a clear understanding of what this means. And I'm going to allow them to shed more light about this research that they did and what that research we can learn from that particular research.
Actually, let me say, quite on the demographics,
yes,
we have the boy child getting much more affected.
Yes.
Simply because of the boy child is more explorative.
Mm-hmm.
He is much into technology.
Yes.
You know,
yes.
He's able to spend much of the time Googling about this betting site, and also, getting, he fights it as his way of, he fights it as his way of trying to earn something more little. Yeah. But I think also because of the societal and also unemployment levels in the country, people really want to make it. This rush to maybe live a posh life, get everything all at once, is what also fuels this need for someone to maybe gamble, win a jackpot.
Okay.
But as good as it seems, it doesn't happen that way. So this need for people to live a posh life, have that dream car, is fueling people really into gambling addiction.
Okay.
And also because, as I mentioned earlier on, because of technology development, 10 years ago, we had people walking into casinos to deposit money and be able to gamble. But today, with the help and click of a button, you are able to deposit money online from your M-Pesa, from your PayPal, and straight to the gambling side. And again, also because of available cheap loans just from an app. You install an app from Google, Play Store, and so you are able to get that loan.
Yeah.
And it's so ironic that someone will just use borrowed money to just bet. And so when the borrowed axe sinks in water, the gambler is left more poorer than he was and depressed.
Yeah.
And also, as technology is also to blame, I think also the government is also to blame because our Gambling Act is so much outdated.
Okay.
It only envisions gambling in casinos, while the world has migrated into online gambling. But now our act speaks of, that gambling that was done by wazes in the village of cards and poker. But the world has really migrated away from that. We are now speaking of online gambling. As I am saying so, the laws are there maybe to protect even the 18-year-old underage from gambling, that is less 18 years. But again, with a smartphone, even though you're 5 years, you just open an account and at the click of a button, you place your bet. And you are hooked in the system. So I think the government is not doing enough. It is more focused on taxation rather than on the social impact of the industry. Again, when we consider also these advertisements that are running even during the day at 7, these forms of advertisement should be done in, the shady hours of the night, not at 7 p.m. before watching news. I think all this is what we've been able to capture in our research. And something that also surprised us is it is not a thing for the unemployed. Even the employed suffer so much, especially because they think gambling is a form of investment, which truly is not, because there's some risk not worth investing on. Actually, when having a conversation and when we began, we realized an entrepreneur and gambler have one thing in common. They are all risk takers.
Yes.
But then not every risk is worth taking. So I believe the government coming in and trying to bring the social impact analysis of gambling in the country, so that we do not have companies swelling addictions in Kenya and going to sponsor team out there in England, but instead open a rehab center for the Kenyan gambler who's left depressed.
Yes.
That will be to have achieved.
I like what you've said, and especially when you mentioned that men are quite they love exploring things. And now maybe what we need to do is think of how do we move this exploration from trying to test out new technology and new website that has come out to how can we figure out a cure for cancer, right? That's I think that will be a good use of risk. I want to give you a quick story, and by the way, this is a true story. A friend of mine, let's call him X. There is a time, I think it was back in 2014, 15, somewhere around there. So this friend of mine, he literally, at that time he was employed to sell as a gas vendor. So actually he was employed at that particular point. After he had made some sales, Arsenal was playing with Liverpool that particular weekend. I can quite remember because he actually called me and he told me that, Dixon, I really need money and this is what I'm planning to do. So he told me that I'm going to take money from selling gas, which is not his business, okay? And he's going to do what? He's going to put this money on gambling. So I asked him.
So sad.
Yeah. So I asked him, how much are you intending to put? Because, if it's 1,000 bob, 2,000. If it tanks, we can be able to. Then the guy tells me, today I made sales of 8,000. I'm going to put it all. Then I asked him, is that your money? No, it's not my money. So I'm asking, so which team are you going to put for? I said Arsenal. So I know I cannot be able to convince you not to. Because at that point, I was like, no, please don't. I even open up starting and I told him, like, the odds of you being struck by lightning versus the odds of you winning this, the odds of being struck by lightning are higher. So I told him all that, but I realized because he desperate. So I want you to picture this. He was desperately in need of money.
Yes.
He had just gotten a new baby and he needed money to go. And the wife, unfortunately, had gotten a CS. So they need to pay medication for that, right? So he put. And then I told him, okay, fine, we're going to pray as much as we can.
The outcome?
The outcome, he won. Oh. Okay, he won. And now I want you to talk to that person who gambling was a turning point for. Gambling came to him at his desperate point. He needed it, right? Yeah. And he had to take the risk. And like you said, some risks are not worth taking. But this one I was like, wow, you guy, the God you're praying to is really amazing. I want you to talk to that person because that story is not just for this friend of mine, X. This story is to as many people out there. Wasewengi, they're going through this. You need money for school fees? Then you say, let me take Babu Owino said it. He said like gambling helped pay his school fees. We don't know how true that is, but that's what he said. I want you to talk to that person. Just tell him that gambling is not right.
Okay, perhaps I can start by saying that we are not totally against gambling.
Yeah.
Because sometimes gambling also has some advantages. So what we are against is the addiction.
Okay.
So if, for example, you find it that you are doing gambling, not for leisure or not for anything, like you are trying to invest the little money that you have. You are not doing it for leisure. So perhaps you have earned, your friends are doing gambling, they are winning, and then you want to do it that way.
Okay.
So I tend to think that is not the right channel to use, because we have other alternatives whereby you can use the little money to have to invest, and actually you can get the money that you want.
Okay.
So I tend to think at some point, if you find yourself it's not helping, then you have to quit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
To cap from where he's left, place a graph of your winnings against losing.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, you are always the loser.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, if you're not the loser, that company, that
Will
gambling
definitely
company
lose
will be
them.
ultimately out of business.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, and for every gambler, he really has to check on the graph. Is always on the losing end.
Yeah.
So it is unpredictable.
Yeah, that's true. That's
And
true.
so you cannot rely it as a sure and sound source of income.
Yeah, definitely.
We've been in campus, we've been trying to hook up people with even online writing programs, and they earn their own sound money, which is predictable. They know after I submit this paper, I'll be able to earn these dollars at the end of the day, and they can be able to survive.
Okay.
But then, as you said, he was employed. Imagine then he lost the bet. He'll lose the employment.
Yes.
He'll lose
He'll
the
be
money
on
for
credit.
health.
Yeah.
And he'll be on credit.
Yeah.
And that is actually what is happening on the ground.
Yeah.
We've had so many people lose employment. We've had so many households break because of gambling.
That's
As
true.
I said, gambling affect the larger percent, let me say 65% of the gamblers are men. That doesn't mean women do not gamble.
Yeah.
5% are on the other side.
Okay.
But for the 65% of men, there was a time we walked to Dandora and there was this child who was just literally crying, The father just went, he receives 15,000 shillings from some security company, and then he bet with the money. So when he went home, the child cannot understand why today is payday, and that tells me there is no bread. These stories and many other will lead to breakage of families, because when the mother now asks, where is the money? And the father cannot even be able to explain, Now, definitely the mother will feel that, he's spending the money somewhere else.
Yeah.
And that's a broken marriage.
Yeah.
And even for the women, some gamble. Maybe the husband gave him some money to go and purchase some household stuff. She bets with the money in the evening.
Yeah.
The man cannot understand where the money is.
Yeah.
She's so shy to even explain that, I did bet with the money.
Yeah.
Because actually, gambling is done. People are so shy about it. In fact, someone gambles and he doesn't want someone else to know that they gamble.
Yeah.
And so you just see the repercussions. Every day you're going down financial way. Every day you're losing money. Your finances, your pocket are draining, and until to a point whereby people now, you start getting into debt. Everywhere you're getting into debt.
Yeah.
To unmanageable levels.
That's and that happens. I've seen that several occasions. And I like what you guys are doing. You said that you find guys who are doing gambling, but then you introduce them to academic writing. And I want, towards the end of the conversation, I want us to talk a little bit about how we can be able to shape or rather change mindset, because millennials and Generation Z, we tend to be called the microwave generation. We want it fast, right? You gamble, you hope to get 250 million so that you can move from Kibera all the way to Runda immediately. And we've seen guys who've won this. I don't know where they go. Maybe you guys will tell us just a little bit later. Right now, I want us to discuss something that also as we've seen it from this conversation. We cannot. I don't think can we say that gambling has no advantages? What do you guys think? Do we have some advantages that drawn from gambling?
Of course, we have some advantages from the gambling, and especially the major betting companies. For example, the Sport Pesa, whereby Okay, it's a law that was passed, but I know perhaps out of their own initiative, we have had them sponsoring teams.
Yes.
We have had them sponsoring, for example, major leagues in Kenya. Perhaps those are some of the benefits that you're able to see on the face of it.
Yeah.
But when you go to the grassroots of this majority of the gamblers, we'll see that most of them end up losing money. So out of the profits these companies are getting,
Yes.
they take the smallest percentage to maybe support a league so that we can see that there are some advantages.
Yes.
But actually, I think that is not the point.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, to add up on the same, in a single day, we have over 500 million Kenyan shillings deposited in all these gambling sites that we have.
Okay.
And out of the 500 million
Okay.
shillings deposited in a day, maybe 70% will go back to the gamblers' winnings. So the company is left with 30%. And so out of the 30%, if we have to carry out a benefit analysis of maybe the benefit we are having, as opposed to now to the effect of the same, I say the effect outweigh the benefit.
Okay.
Because I don't understand why a company will go and sponsor a team in England while leaving a depressed Kenyan sinking in den in the country.
Yes.
So I think even as much as we are trying to grow our talent, we also have to create, a responsible society.
Yes.
Be able to bring academies for financial literacy skills, because we've seen people win mega jackpot 5 years down the line, they're back again to gambling.
Yes.
Because with little financial skills, the same money they won in a day is lost in a day.
Lost in a day. I like what you just said right there. And I remember when the first the guy who won, I can't quite recall his name, the first person who won the mega jackpot, which was about 220 million.
Yeah.
Literally, if you do any form of analysis, depending on however is going to spend it, that money will definitely have gone cross generational, right?
Yeah.
Because 220 million, that's a hospital. If you think about it, that's an entire hospital. But I don't know. Do you guys know where he went? How far he is?
He went to Germany, got married, bought some Mercedes, posted in the media, and then he's back in the country. A normal guy.
Oh, wait. You're saying he's broke again?
This is how it ends.
So Kelvin and Kevin, so we know that there's definitely some advantages. I know you guys feel like they might be outweighing. The other day, the MP of Embakasi was saying that gambling is actually helped him pay school fees, which, like I've given you the story of my friend X, helped him settle his medical bill. We have guys employed at SportPesa, for example. Let's pick SportPesa, for instance, from marketing officers, and that's basically the employment that we're looking for. Let's go to football. They sponsor actually the entire KPL, right?
Yeah.
Which means they're pumping. Literally, most of us came to find that Kenya has soccer after these kind of sponsorships. Just think about it for a second. The SportPesa Cup, that's all like some benefits to the club. And if you also think about it on the flip side, the government is also earning revenue, which they can use to grow something. Because if you go to watch a game at Nyayo Stadium, there's definitely some money that is paid to the government. So just trying to think, let's go back to what the minister did. Funga zote, fungeni hizo viosk. Go home. And of course, the argument, like you said, they were looking for taxes. But if you look at, first of all, let's start with the approach they used. Close them, go. I'm understanding that it's a tough part.
Yeah, sure.
But close them, go. So the 100 people employed by any of these SportPesa company, they're going home. Okay?
Sure.
So meaning we're having a potential of having an increase in crime. Because if 100 people cannot put food on the table, and knowing the kind of employment status that we have in the country, but they have to eat. So let's first of all start by the action the government took, just shutting them down. Was it the best approach to go about it?
Actually, what the government did, it suspended the pay bills of the gambling companies. It did not shut them down.
Okay.
Those who had money wallet continued to deposit money and bet. And this is just a show off, because 2 months down the line, most of them were back again operating.
Yes.
So as we said earlier on, the government seems to be more about, the outcome of, the taxes that will accrue from the business.
Def.
But I'm trying to imagine of other jurisdictions in China, in US, where they've been able to outlaw gambling and restricted it to casinos. They still make a lot of money. They have their own leagues. Their basketball in US is one of the most lucrative professions we have in China. They are an extremely superb economy that lends us money. So even as much as we are trying to view gambling as our holy source of taxation, I believe with the Kenyan out here, Kenyans are very entrepreneurial. Yes. The only thing we lack is the financial literacy skills.
Yes.
If we are able to drive these in the country in a span of 10 years, we'll be able to tell our graduates that you do not have to go and seek a job. We can start our own enterprises, build our own economy. And as we said from the beginning, we are not wholly against gambling as an entity, because to some it is done as a lucrative means. It's just a leisure activity. But then when it is done as an economic source, take my word on this, there is no economy that can be powered on the earnings of gambling. Such an economy is just meant to crumble down. Cannot power an economy on chances. But also looking at the effect, maybe trying to nurture our talent. I believe when the government is not doing enough for its people and letting down the private citizens do it for themselves, then the government itself, when people assume the roles of a government, people will now start praising them as their government. That is what SportPesa did. We have a government and a Ministry of Sport that literally has been full of scandals and everything. You've seen our players go out there, sleep on the benches. So when SportPesa comes and rescues our players, we tend to worship them as our gods. Simply not knowing that they're just giving us a sweet from their pocket. After having gotten all that from us, they just return back a handshake. And if you were to calculate how much they make plus how much they give, then you'll just know that just a penny that they lend us back.
But again, I still maintain my strong position that this is what we call, somehow in law, we call it quid pro quo, it's a gift take. So they are giving these sponsorships to Kenyan teams, for example, and players. The small benefits out of what we give them. But the moment we try to take the major or the larger part of their benefits, they withdraw back the sponsorship. It has happened. For example, when the pay bills were suspended, a statement that they have withdrawn the sponsorships and they no longer sponsor, simply because we have taken what they think it's theirs.
Again, to add on that, the sponsoring is not a way. Don't think they are really helping us. They are also advertising themselves.
That's true.
Because they are making their name known. So even as much as you're viewing, we have turned it into a commercial project. So to them, again, they are selling their name out there against their competitors.
That's very
so
true.
That they remain high in the game. In UK...
And again, also, before you, let me interject. And again, if I totally agree with you in terms of how the betting structure is. There definitely is need for something to be done. And like Kevin said, that anytime you'll try to, because I remember also there's a time that the government tried to increase the taxation. Then they were so quick to withdraw their sponsorship from the clubs. But then again, the question will be, if we don't have income, you see, if Safaricom does not have income, then Safaricom Foundation has no money to run. So it's just something to think about. And part of the question that we're going to discuss is what are some of the long-term solutions that you guys think we should do about gambling. But first, I'd like to know, because you guys have been able to go through universities and talk to students and talk to young people, are you guys experiencing any resistance?
Yeah, sure. As we pointed out earlier on, people really don't know what is bad for them. There's that alcoholic who sleeps in the ditch, and while he's drunk and inebriated, he prays that he'll never do it again, only to return back to the ditch the following day. And tomorrow never, and tomorrow never comes. It is the same case for a gambler, especially when they'll ask, then what should I do as an alternative? So if we are not able to give them an alternative, it becomes a problem. So providing solutions to them, as well as trying to have partner initiatives coming on board to help us, be able, because alone we may not be able to do much. This is why you are partnering with other, institutions
out there,
and to be able to give recovery programs and what have you. So you may not be able to do much alone. And also on the alternatives, the government did introduce Ajira Digital, of which we are able to channel most people through the program so that they can be able to get employed online. But again, as I said, employment does not deter a gambler. He still continues to gamble with the money he earns from the employment. So in the long run, as you said, we really need to have financial literacy skills as part of our curriculums. And also, apart from that, is on our statute, as I pointed out. One that its definition of gambling is in a casino, playing poker. But today, gambling is online, at the click of a button. What you just need is a smartphone and data. So we really need an act that is working with the current generation, because even as much as technology is coming, if we are not careful enough, then this technology will be of harm to us. If we used it in the right way, we could make moves. But if we just use it to drain ourselves in gambling and whatever, we'll be on the wrong track.
Okay, awesome. Wow, that's a great parting shot. Like, it wasn't a parting shot, but you just almost covered everything in detail. On that note, we're going to take another short break, and we're going to play Sheria by Serabi featuring Giuliani.
Nalipa tax na hata siwezi afford kupanda taxi. Kwa banki sina kakitu, siwezi afford hata shati. Maji nanywa ya kanjo yako ya chupa za mapambo. Nalipia mtoto wako elimu ya bure ya juu. Unanipa ya bure lakini ya utu. So zako ziko chini, unapenda kulipa hongo na kutumia njia za uongo, una mipango na hata watoto wa kando, haujui hata majina yao. Kura yako uliuza maini figo, ukakulia hadi dini, kisha wasema tukuthamini, na wewe hapo hauaminiki, na wewe hapo haupangiki.
Wapi kidero when you need to slap somebody? Complain ufisadi kwani ulidhani t-shirt 50 bob leso siku ya campaign ilikuwa free? Ni 5 year loan investment utalipa kingia parliament. We are one, amani we are one. Na utumishi kwa wote, utu missing CCTV we were watching. Racial insecurity na job opportunity ni kama mti ya kibiriti. Side moja heavy, usiniambie Kenya kuna umaskini, kwani hizi fat fingers zinaibia nane? Maskando ina threaten our survival. Media define leadership, na sura ukiaka front page na improve readership. Ambia wase wa Twitter wa hashtag hii ama hash reality doesn't make a good TT. Commission of inquiry wanakula commission bila kutupa ukweli, ni kubaya baka kukiwa kuzuri unashindwa nini mbaya. Machozi ya perpetrator ineza dilute damu ya victim ilimwagika. After all is said and done, all will be said, nothing will be done. You're not my tribe, but you're my blood type. Like it doesn't have to take tragedy to know that.
Sheria
Welcome back. And before the break, where you were saying that China, US, they've been able to confine gambling to just casinos. So if you go to Las Vegas, that's where you only gamble. Yeah. I'm just thinking out loud. Don't you think that then cuts out a huge population? Because if I'm staying, because let's look at even where casinos are located. They're high end, they're prime areas. Okay. If we have such a because this is what I'm thinking. So this is why technology first of all came. Technology came so that you can reach everyone out there. So Facebook, all this, so like M-Pesa, it was all built just to.
Let me answer briefly in this.
Okay.
The only gambler who wins is the gambler who quit.
Okay.
So what I really mean is, even though someone won 10,000 today and they invest the money, he loses. So at the end of the day, it is who won 10,000 and quit gambling. It's the one who walks home.
That's okay.
But as long as you're still playing the game, you're not a winner.
Back. Okay.
So we cannot really say that this gambling is helping in such a way,
Mm-hmm.
because in the long run, it is a zero-sum game. That is why we have no insurance companies coming in to insure gamblers. Because they know it is a zero-sum game.
Okay.
The money won is directly proportional to the money lost.
Yeah.
So such kind of a business environment is not secure at all.
Okay.
This is why we cannot rely on it.
Okay. That makes a lot of sense. Now, just to, as we wind up, and remember you guys are going to walk us through how the blocking system, the blocking software works, just nitty-gritty specifics so that guys listening to have a clear understanding. Then you guys said that the government approach was also not the most favorable. If today you are to be sitting in that office with the interior secretary, what are some of the ways that you can be able to share with him? And this also cuts across. If you have a chance to speak to Michael Joseph right now and tell him we would like to work with Safaricom Foundation or Blaze or whichever organization it is, so that we approach gambling in this particular angle, what will that be?
Okay, first to start with, I think we first had a very nice idea. We introduced the betting control and licensing board, whereby it was supposed to oversee all the operations of gambling companies and those of betting companies. But currently, I think, leading from a decision of the High Court that was delivered recently, whereby some of the things raised in the case was, for example, the incompetence of BCLB. For example, we had a company whereby it was supposed to operate within a maximum of 2 million. That was the maximum amount they were to reward. But this company, out of the trained paths, they went on, for example, to cheat the local man, like they can give 200 million, and they also made large number of people to believe that that was the amount that was supposed to be won.
Okay.
But if this licensing bond was able to control this company, for example, the advertisement, the mere train path wouldn't have been of impact to most of the people.
Okay.
So these people went on to gamble thinking that they will get the 200 million. So as for me, if I was to sit with the Interior Cabinet Secretary, for example, I will try to advise him to bring sanity to some of these corporations, for example, the licensing bond. So if they were to go as per their mandate, then I think we will have the sanity in this gambling industry.
Okay.
And to add on the same, I believe it is the high time we stop relying on personalities and competences and now go down to the substance of things.
Okay.
Because Matiang'i as a person is very competent, but tomorrow he will not be in office and things will be back where they were.
That's
because we do not have a statute that is regulating them. So tomorrow, again, will be where we are today.
Okay.
So simply now is Matiang'i doing things as his own. But if we have to get down to our parliament, enact statute, enact act that will ensure socio-economic and social analysis, social impact analysis of the kind of economic models we're having in the country, I think we'll have a long-term solution to gambling.
To gambling problem.
Just to add, that can only be done through cooperation and support from Kenyans. Because I think there's a time a certain former member of parliament trying to introduce an act, and it was then on arrival. Because some members of the parliament are also key stakeholders
In these companies, yeah.
So I think we should support such moves to ensure that whatever we are giving is actualized. Yeah,
That's quite insightful, and that's a good way of approaching it. Like you said, I mean, we had Matatu Sanity when Michuki was the Minister of Transport, but then, when he was moved to, was it Environment?
Then everything.
then like Matatu went back to what it was.
Or when Mututo was in.
Now, I'm going to allow you guys a minute each to just share the last words. But before that, you had mentioned that SAGA takes, first of all, step to help you identify if you're actually an addict. Then it goes down, trickling down to offer you how you can be able to walk out of it, which is a really good initiative because even if you're an addict to drugs, you don't stop tonight. It has to be a gradual process. So working with the person on the journey. One of the most interesting parts that we really picked from this was the blocking software. Just a clear understanding. How does this software work, and how can is it accessible to anyone else out there who's or do I have to sign up to be a SAGA member to get this software? All this because like I know there's some guys out there who are like, please, I need that download, I need that app.
Yeah, sure. SAGA, as I said, is a non-profit.
Okay.
So most of our services, we do not charge. We've partnered with some Israeli company. They provide us with the software that you install in your phone. Then it can be able to block.
Okay.
Just the same way we have porn addictions, people can be able to block porn from accessing porn site.
Yeah.
It's the same thing we do with the gambling site.
Okay.
And key success stories are coming from it.
Okay.
And I'll just call upon, this is a is a self-initiative. Gambling is also a personal choice.
Okay,
You
yeah,
choose
yeah.
either I want to gamble or not. So you can again choose whether not to gamble or to gamble.
Yeah, that's true.
So it gives the choice back to the gambler. You can be able now to stop gambling just as he chose to start gambling.
Awesome. But I like the fact that even if it is my personal choice, at least you guys are taking some initiatives. And like you see, like before you stop having an addiction, there are some things that you have to do.
Sure.
Yeah.
We start with a questionnaire.
Okay,
It
okay.
helps you be able to draw your graph
Okay.
of gambling. You can be able to know whether I'm on the winning side or on the losing side.
Okay.
Because you can be able to carry our own personal choice. And again, numbers don't lie. So if you've lost 10 consecutive bets,
Yes.
and the bad thing about gambling is today you lose, tomorrow you win. And
Yeah.
then you're back again and said, so if I won, let me try again. And then you lose and lose and lose. Then you win somewhere after 3 days.
Yeah.
So you don't really want to stop because you remember that winning.
Yes.
Forget about those losses.
Yes.
But then numbers don't lie. So it will make a calculation for you for all the money you've lost and the monies that you've been able to win.
Yeah.
And so you'll be able to answer your questionnaire to know where you lie on the scale. And then depending on what you get, you score on the scale, whether 40, whether 60%, whether 70, you can be able to get a rough idea of how deep you are in gambling, and then now be able to offer a customer focused and a tailor-made solution to your specific circumstances.
Okay.
And so you can be able now to block and you can count it as success. Maybe you can start betting only on wickets, then again you start skipping, and finally you are out of the drain.
Wow, yeah. Incredible. That's amazing steps. So for someone listening and they're like, wow, I'd like to sign up for these, what can I do to sign up or just to get contact with you guys, just to be able to understand themselves?
Yeah, you can be able to follow us at Stand SAGA on Twitter or LinkedIn, SAGA Initiative, and then you can be able now to access most of our services and also to learn more from what we do. Okay. And then slowly we can be able to start a recovery program journey together.
Awesome. So on Twitter you said it's at Stand SAGA. At Stand SAGA. On that's the same handle on LinkedIn as well.
Yeah, SAGA Initiative.
SAGA Initiative on LinkedIn. Okay, awesome. Thank you so much, guys. So on LinkedIn, it's SAGA Initiative. On Twitter, at Stand SAGA. Mention them, tweet them, DM. Is your DM open?
Yeah, it's always open.
It's always open. So make sure you connect with them if you're having struggle and you want to understand if you are either on the winning or the losing side. And if you're on the winning side, what can you do to the money that you've won so that at least it becomes beneficial? So like Kelvin said, the winner is the one who wins, walks out completely, never looks back. The loser is the one who always comes back. So we want to make sure that you win, go home safely. Like they said, they're not telling you not to bet. They're telling you reduce the betting and learn financial management, and they can be able to guide you and work with you.
Awesome.
Yeah, and again, they're available at Parklands.
Sure.
That's the University of Nairobi School of Law.
Yeah.
Just walk in, ask for SAGA Initiative. They're at the reception. Right? They're no longer in the hostels. Then they can be able to guide and walk with you in this particular journey. So the last words as we close this, the last words to any person out there, any person betting, the betting firm, whoever you want to talk to, this is your time. Talk to them and let them, they will hear, they will listen to you.
Yeah. Maybe the last thing I would wish to say is always, our financial management skills comes first.
Yes.
And also in everything, there is always a time to quit, and there is nothing that cannot be unlearned. Everything learned can be unlearned.
For me, I would just like to tell everyone out there who is listening to us, you can join us as we share this journey. For example, you can enlighten the youth. They say that sharing is caring. So whenever you feel free, just come join us. We share the stories together. We inspire those people out there. And also, we create change to them. You can still join us through Twitter or LinkedIn. You share stories. These stories will inspire someone out there. And just to cut it short, they say that if it doesn't fit, just quit.
If it doesn't fit, just quit. Thank you so much, guys, and for joining us. We really appreciate this. What you're doing is amazing. Keep up the great work. And okay, for our listeners, make sure to catch the next episode on Campus Radio. That's www.campusradio.co.ke. Share with us your thoughts, opinions at Campus Radio KE. And like our guests have said, it's at Stand Saga. Talk to them. Their DM is open. Share with them, and they can be able to walk with you the whole process and journey. And like Calvin said, anything that was learned can also be unlearned. Thank you so much. This is YellowTape. My name is Dixon Morande.